Hello guys, it is DNA Evolved 115, and today I'm going to attempt to start a real juggernaut of a topic. One that is by far the most controversial in the community, and definitely the most controversial that I've talked about on this channel. This topic left cracks, if not shattered the community, when it was majorly changed in Black Ops 4. If you're a fan of Call of Duty Zombies, you already know what I'm talking about. It's the perk system. That will be today's focus on BBBs. But guys, before we get into this video, make sure that if you do enjoy the video, you double tap that like and subscribe button. So that way, everyone in every corner of the internet will be able to see what we're doing right here. The first ever Zombies map, Nacht der Untoten, was devoid of perks. However, as early as the first DLC for World at War, perks were the game. It started out with a core 4 perks. These perks later become known as the OG perks because they kind of stick with us all the way from when they were introduced all the way until the last DLC of Black Ops 3. Starting off the roster of these perks, there was Juggernaut, which effectively doubled your health between World at War and Black Ops 2, giving you 2 extra hits of health when you already started with 2. In Black Ops 3 you had 3 hits, and so it gave you 2 more, making it so that way you had 5 hits. Speed Cola, which made it so that way you reloaded faster. Double Tap, which doubled your fire rate. And Quick Revive, which made it so that way you could revive your friends in half the time if they went down during a game of zombies. There were only the 4, but you could purchase and have all 4 at once, so you didn't have to make any choices about which perk was more important. When we jumped into Black Ops 1, there were perks added like Stamina, which made it so that way you could run faster. PhD Flopper, that made it so that way you could flop on the ground and create an explosion. Flopping was a thing Black Ops 2 and before. After that, I think it was mostly replaced with sliding, but basically it was just diving, like if you jump into your bed or something like that. Except you would do it on the ground and you would cause an explosion. You also gained explosive damage from this, and this included the splash damage from the ray gun, which at that point in time was one of the strongest weapons, but it also had one of the biggest drawbacks because the splash damage could damage you just like a normal explosive weapon. We also had Deadshot, which made it so that way you kind of had aim assist and it would automatically target the zombies' heads rather than their bodies. This was especially true on console. Mule Kick was also added during the last DLC for Black Ops 1. This perk made it so that way you could hold up to 3 weapons, whereas before you were limited to 2. However, despite the fact that all 4 of these perks seem very useful, we ran into a problem. Even though there was now double the perks to choose from, we still only had 4 perks we could hold at once, meaning you had to make a trade-off somewhere. I know for many, especially if you were playing multiplayer, Quick Revive would be traded off for probably Stamina Up, sometimes Mule Kick. However, on solo, if you were to down without Quick Revive, your game was over, because in Black Ops 1, the ability was added to Quick Revive that it would give you an extra life if you bought it in solo, meaning it was a death sentence not to buy Quick Revive, which meant that the remaining 7 perks were fighting over 3 slots. Double Tap was also often skipped over because all it did was double your fire rate. It didn't actually increase the damage of your bullets. So, especially weapons that had lower ammo, people would skip over Double Tap in order to buy one of the new perks. But that's where we run into another problem. Starting in Black Ops 2, Double Tap was replaced with Double Tap 2.0, which effectively doubled your damage, not your fire rate. If you were to shoot one projectile at a wall, you could actually see that there was 2 different impact marks. every single bullet that you shot became 2 bullets. One would be stupid not to take the option of double damage for the 2,000 price point that was set for the perk, considering that Pack-a-Punch's double in damage is at the price point of 5,000 points. So in a solo game, you were stupid to not at least have Juggernog, which gave you double health, Quick Revive, which made it so that way you could get up if you downed, and Double Tap, which doubled your damage for such a low price. Meaning the only perk you could leave out, even if you wanted to, was Speed Cola. And in Black Ops 2, there was no way to add fast mags or anything to your weapons because there was no out-of-game weapon kit system. Meaning that it was almost necessary as well. However, depending on your playstyle, this is the perk that people cut if they had to cut one. While it certainly wasn't good that the balance was off, it almost kind of works out because Black Ops 2 had a lot of perks that are not fan favorites of the community. You had Tombstone that dropped a little tomb wherever you died, and then when you respawn you could go back and get it to receive your weapons back. The problem is that this perk was on one of the biggest maps that has ever been in Call of Duty Zombies. And so depending on where you downed, it was almost impossible to make it to that tombstone anyway. They also had Who's Who, which made it so that way when you downed or died, you would respawn in the spawn area with a starter pistol, and you would have the opportunity to go run and revive yourself. Both of these perks were kind of under the radar. People really didn't like them. However, in the next map, Buried, there was Vulture Aide, and a lot of people liked that perk. However, on that map, there was a way to get all of the perks using the Witch's House. Meaning that you didn't have to choose Vulture Aide over another perk. You just had to choose which perks you wanted to buy first. And then, finally, in Mob of the Dead, Electric Cherry was added, which gave off a little electric effect when you reloaded. A lot of people like this perk, and a lot of people used it as a replacement to Speed Cola because it kind of does the same job, except instead of physically making you reload faster, it stalls while you reload. This perk, in combination with Speed Cola, however, is OP AF. Ironically, Black Ops 3 is probably the weakest in terms of actual new perk offerings. Now, it did change how jUgg worked a little bit by changing the game to have a 3-hit system rather than a 2-hit system without jUgg. However, they only brought back the perks from Black Ops 1 and prior, with the exception of Electric Cherry, and they only added one new perk during the Black Ops 3 season, and it was even there on launch. The innovation for Black Ops 3 lied more in other aspects of the game, such as adding a weapon kit system where you could level your guns inside the game and then choose attachments to put on them from outside the game, as well as a huge focus on shifting to where the storytelling was more forward. BO3 was one of the most successful Zombies experiences that has ever existed. Riding the success, the Zombies team tried to push the boundaries of what Zombies should be in Black Ops 4. And I don't want to say they failed because they did have some good ideas, but the game didn't do so hot. They decided to change so much it wasn't funny, and the perk system is a big hinge for a lot of people. They removed pretty much all of the OG perks with the exception of Quick Revive, which took on its original use, taking away the fact that it gave you an extra life in solo and was put into the new perk system. jUgg was just added onto your health. It's not like you lost health in a game. You had 4 hits permanent health throughout the whole entire game. double tap you had to pack a punch 5 different times, and speed cola you got automatically by having all your perks. Now, they weren't all like this on launch, and it's a big debate for a lot of people. I'm going to be posting the text for a Reddit post that I made once, because it was a big argument back in the day for the Black Ops 4 system that everything is still there, but it's really not, because handing me health isn't the same as having dynamic health, where I can gain and lose health depending on how I'm doing in the game. With Black Ops 4, you would choose your perks in an out-of-game menu, choosing the 4 that you wanted to have that game. In each and every map, you would know where either the machine or the statue was, so you could choose exactly where you wanted each perk to be. Furthermore, the 4th perk slot, a modifier would be added on to perk, which gave you the effect that that perk originally had, plus an extra effect. For example, the new version of Mule Kick made it so that way you could not lose your 3rd weapon if it was in the modifier slot. You would simply go down to having 2 weapons when you didn't have Mule Kick, and when you bought it again, the weapon that you lost would automatically be put into that 3rd slot. Neither system is objectively better than the other one, but there was a focus on different things. In the old system, which is World at War through Black Ops 3, there was a huge focus on gameplay progression, making it so that way, when the zombies were slow and weak, you were kind of weak, but the stronger the zombies got, the stronger you got to match them. In Black Ops 4, there was a less of a care on progression and more care on player choice. They tried really hard to make it so that way it wasn't obvious which perks were the right choice. They tried to make it so that way you as the player had to choose perks that fit your playstyle the best. It is a general consensus that a lot of people like what they tried to do, but just don't think that they pulled it off quite right. However, coming off of Black Ops 3, where there was so much success, jumping into Black Ops 4 was weird. It left a lot of people very disoriented with the game. One of those players was myself, and ultimately it made some people leave the game mode altogether, or even the community. And the community became toxic because there was this inner fighting about which perk system was the best, when, like I just said, neither one is. It's really just based off of what you find more important in the game. I kind of think it's ironic because Jason Blundell, who was the leader for zombies during Black Ops 2's second half, Black Ops 3, and Black Ops 4, teased a factions system during the reveal event for Black Ops 4, and he claimed it was going to be like, guilds or clans in many MMOs where, it's you group up with some people, you gain XP, blah, 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 you try to make your group the best. And even though we never got that faction system, it never actually hit Black Ops 4, this game was very effective in splitting the community into factions. I myself made several Reddit posts detailing how I thought the old system was so much better. I eventually took a break from Reddit just because of how toxic it was, and I kind of worked through it on my own, and I kind of came to the conclusion that neither system was better. I still prefer the one, because even though neither one is objectively better, how a perk system feels is a subjective experience. And the point that objectivity doesn't matter is something that is going to be kind of important while creating this new perk system. Anyway, guys, this is part 1 of my video about the perk system. This one is going to be posted probably a couple days before the other one. I'm really going to try to get the other one in before the 1 week mark, but no guarantees. This one was more just kind of a background one, because I do know that there were a lot of new players in Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4 that might not know the history for all of this. So this was just trying to catch everyone up to where I was so they can see where my thinking is coming from and such. Anyway guys, you have a good time and I'll catch you in the next one.